decision that had to be made in the building program that this group of 7 people behind me engaged in. And they took it seriously. They gave lots of feedback, you know, heard from the experts, and really kept their vision alive moving forward into the fruition of this building that we have before us. And I am honored to get to work with them. They are fully focused on students and on being good stewards of tax dollars and of academic achievement and making sure that our children are getting the very best education possible while also being great stewards of the resources we're provided by our community. So with all of that, let me introduce our school board members to you. First off, our board president, Dr. Joey Saxon. Board vice president, Mr. Jody Gonzalez. Our board secretary, Mrs. Annette Crooks. Board member, Mr. Jim Malachik. Board member, Mrs. Colleen Down. Board member, Mr. Trey Duncan. And board member, Mr. Carlos Chiquitas. And you know, when you go into a building program, to have an experienced board and one that is passionate about meeting the needs of our kids is crucial. And these 7 people fulfilled that and went above and beyond the call of duty with all of our projects, not just with this building. But we touched every building in the district, and we've got one more project left, the auditorium at the high school, and we're in the middle of that right now. So that we have sold bonds, and we should get started on that later in the spring with construction. And then the next introduction I will have for you is the namesake of the school. We'll hear from her in just a little bit. That's Ms. Jackie Fuller. Forefront of our thinking, I will promise you. I want to also introduce the person that has worked tirelessly, hours upon hours this summer before that, to help open this school in a positive way, hiring teachers, engaging with parents during a pandemic, you know, and making people feel welcome. And that's the principal, the very first principal of Fuller Elementary School. This is Carrie Abrams. Done a ton of work, and that would be the central administration that we have in Aubrey. We are so blessed to have these 3 superintendents as well as our communications person. So I want to introduce our deputy superintendent for curriculum instruction, Terry McNabb. Innovative spaces that we have, Terry highly involved and impactful in some of the design conversations. How do we help teachers implement those things, utilize them? And then our assistant superintendent for human resources and student services, Dr. Shannon Saylor. Staffing was a huge part of what she did and also giving a lot of feedback. And then our assistant superintendent for business and operations, Mr. Eric Huff. He makes sure we have money to buy the furniture. And then our communications specialist who helped edit my little construction update videos and give me tips and then push out a lot of information. That's Ms. Annie Regine. Right? About the design of this, and you need a great architectural firm to come up with an innovative design that keeps the traditional elements of schooling that we know are successful intact while also pushing us forward to 21st century thinking. And so Huckabee is the firm that we have worked with, and they have done a fantastic job of hearing our vision and making it a reality. So those folks that are here with Huckabee today are Steve Hafer, principal architect. Luke Powell, associate principal architect. Micah Glasgow, our construction observer. I haven't seen her, but I think she's here. This was the person with hopefully that's probably most passionate about our building. And that is Faye Perez, project architect. Where's Faye? Is she here? I thought she was going to be here, maybe not. So I remember having great conversations with her, and she had gone on maternity leave right as we were finishing up the design, and she was really upset because she loved this building. So let's give her a round of applause. And then our interior designer, Lauren Boyle. She's the one that kept us on the right color scheme. And then there are several consultants that are a part of this, and technology is a huge part of this building. And the CEO of True North Consulting Group, Russ Johnson, is here, and they were highly involved. I see Russ standing back there, highly involved with this building. And then I want to recognize the associate principal architect that started this project and then branched out to start his own company. So we want to give a tip of the hat to Tim Hopkins, who's right over here. He was helping make anyone to come back for today. And then once you get the design, you need to have a construction firm that will make it happen with quality, on time, and in budget. And Poe Construction has been that partner for us. So we want to recognize the folks from Poe that are here. Like I talked about, there was rain. I mean, y'all remember last winter how much it rained. It wouldn't stop. And now that we're not going to build anything, it probably won't rain much. But they were committed to making sure that we had the very best building for our kids possible. And so I want to introduce Mr. Zach Walker, Vice President for Poe. Zach here? Oh, okay. Let's give him a round of applause. And then the main team that we dealt with on a daily basis, had a lot of great conversations with. We had the very best building for our kids. Our project manager. And so I want to introduce Mr. Zach Walker, Vice President for Poe. Zach here? Oh, okay. Project. Let's give him a round of applause. Only played that card about 1,000 times on Aubrey High School. And then the job site superintendent who is key to making all of this work, Mr. Steve Kilgo, right over here. So today we can walk around and find something wrong, tell Steve. And then our assistant project manager for this project, Jake Gandell. And I want to give a tip of the hat to their marketing assistant, Kathleen Sizemore, who helped organize this event today with Mr. King. All right, well, you've heard from me enough, and now I would invite Dr. Joey Saxon to come forward and bring greetings. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance first, so everybody stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. On behalf of the board, we certainly want to thank the community for your support with this project. We also want to thank Dr. Belding, the administration, staff, Ms. Abrams, and all the community members who helped design this fantastic elementary school. Turned out great, so thank you. Yes. Dr. Belding gave the board much more credit than we deserve on this project. But really, we approved the project, we signed the check. But we will claim fame to selecting the name. That was an honor that we had. The board rallied around the idea of selecting a former educator who continued to be involved in the community. And that name rose to the top, and we were unanimous in that decision after an extensive background check. And I think the report was thrown away, but I'm not certain. Everyone agreed that Jackie Fuller had all the characteristics of what we wanted the Fuller Elementary School to be about. It's a tribute to her, but also to all of the fantastic teachers in Aubrey ISD. So thank you.
Okay, now it's time for me to give a brief project description. And this school is 93,000 square feet. It serves students pre-K through fifth grade. The present capacity of the school is 735 students, so we can house up to 735, with the core of the school being built to add another 100 students, so up to 835. When we talk about the core, we're talking about the cafeteria, the office space, the library, those common areas, okay? And we designed it where we can easily add 10 classrooms to the building, 5 on the end of this wing and 5 on the end of the first and second. We included collaborative spaces in every wing to promote collaborative type of learning experiences for students. We have a courtyard that's easily accessible, again, to promote fantastic learning experiences in an outdoor environment. And you'll see there are spaces throughout the whole building that might be spaces that just have a wall that we put something there to have a learning experience for kids. And so this building was, when we were talking about the design of it, we wanted to connect this building and neighborhood to the heritage of Aubrey and Aubrey ISD. And so that's where the idea of incorporating the silos and the courtyard came in from the peanut dryers in downtown Auburn by the railroad track. And so then from there, it just branched out to what you see with the industrial look, and then, something that we wanted to be classic and timeless. And so, when you build a school, you expect that school to be used for 30 to 50 years at a minimum. And so we wanted this to be something that can be flexible, that we can adapt as times change and move forward, and it can be a building that will support that type of learning for decades to come. And super excited about it. And people will say all the time, why does it cost as much as it does to build a school? Well, hopefully through some of my videos, if you watch them, you'll see that the foundation, for instance, is built that this building is not going to move. And we have over 200 piers that are drilled down 35 to 50 feet. We have concrete grade beams. We have a storm shelter that can stand up to an F5 tornado. I mean, we have all kinds of safety features here that this building will be here for generations. Super excited about that. So with all of that, that's the basic project description. And I think, again, we really delivered on fantastic. So at this point, I'd ask that Landon Kids from Pope Construction come forward and say a few words.
Thank you, Dr. Belding. This ceremony certainly looks a little different than what I envisioned it might when we broke ground on this thing many months ago. But I'm just very excited that we had the chance to meet and for you guys to see this fantastic facility. Dr. Belding stole most of my thunder about what I was going to share with you. That's cool facts about the building. But when we first started this, I mentioned the groundbreaking ceremony. There was a big duck pond right where this building sits right now. So we fought that pretty much till we got out of the ground. We did have a very wet spring and winter, but we persevered. We also had a thing called COVID-19 that hit right in the middle of this project. And so that presented another set of challenges that we overcame. But we were able to do that with a great team. I want to say thank you to the Huckabee team. They've been phenomenal all the way through all of our projects. Some of the cool features of this building that we like as a team, we love the courtyard. If you haven't seen the courtyard, go out there and look at it. It's beautiful. The silos that are out there are very unique. The collaboration spaces are also very unique to an elementary school. We do a lot of these schools, but this one really stands out. It's really a state-of-the-art facility. We're very proud to have been part of it and honored to be part of the team. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Landon. And in order to construct a building, we have to have a great architectural design team. And so Mr. Steve Haver will come forward and bring comments from Huckabee.
Thank you, Dr. Building. Just want to say on behalf of Huckabee and the entire design team, and I get the opportunity to come up here and talk to y'all and a little bit and talk about the design team, but we have a tremendous team behind me that does all the work. So I want to say thank you for all our design team members, including our structural engineering, MEP engineering, landscape, civil engineers. So there's a significant team that comes together to make these buildings happen. So, and we are very honored to have been a small part of this project. I think as you walk through this facility today, you'll see this facility is a testament to the commitment of the board and the administration and the teachers to create a facility that is going to be amazing for both teachers and students as you move forward. And this facility will be here to educate and prepare students for the decades, as Landon said. This will happen, this will go on for decades to come. I expect a lot of great things to come out of this building. I think this is a great facility and it will enhance the community of Aubrey ISD, and we're just glad to have been a part of it. We want to say thank you. Hopefully, as we look at this, Ms. Fuller, hopefully we exceeded your expectations. We're just excited to have been a part of it and very honored to have your name on the building. So thank you.
All right. You know, to open a brand new school as a principal is a huge honor. And I appreciate our board for supporting the recommendation to name the principal of this building a year in advance from when it opened, because there's a lot of work that nobody sees that a principal that opens a new school is committed to and does. And just to name that person like in April before you open in August, I don't know that we could have made it in the fashion that we did if Carrie Abrams had not been in place and who she is. Because she was fully committed to making sure that this opening happened 100% meeting our expectations of excellence. And I think she pulled it off, she and her staff. So without any further ado, I would invite Ms. Abrams to come forward and make some comments.
Let me begin by saying welcome to the stage that has arrived, the dedication of Jackson Fuller Elementary School. I know I share the eagerness and excitement to finally be at this moment in the process of building this amazing facility. I like to think that my personal journey to this moment started 12 years ago when I was a first grade teacher. I got to open a new school. Being a part of the founding staff, choosing our mascot and colors, and setting the course for the kind of school we wanted from the beginning was inspiring and motivating as we intentionally created our culture. It was during those 5 years there that the dream was born that I wanted to one day welcome children into a new school and lead a staff through the building blocks of creating something special. I'm so honored to be standing before you today, living and breathing my dream as the inaugural principal of Jackson Fuller Elementary. A few years ago now, I happened to be on the original design committee for elementary number 3, as it was known back then. In the first meeting, we played and created different building designs with small squares of paper to discuss the important aspects we hope to capture in the building based on the district's strategic plan. It was in the next meeting when Huckabee unveiled the designs that captured my heart. I was in awe of how these architects were able to capture our visions of honoring the past while mixing traditional school elements with innovative aspects in the design. Being hands-on and part of the process, from blueprints to dirt, foundation, walls, roof, lighting, flooring, paint, furniture, to move in. To now walk these halls each day, seeing our students learning in unique spaces and witnessing our proud teachers do their best work is truly magical. I want to say thank you to a few people who made these magical moments possible. To Huckabee, thank you for capturing the essence of Aubrey ISD in the design aspects. To Poe, thank you for building a quality product to be proud of for many decades to come. To the people I turn to throughout this journey and who have been with me every step of the way, my appreciation goes to my Aubrey ISD family and friends for surrounding me with support. To Steve, our Pope site superintendent, for your work ethic, perseverance, and pride you took in this building, and the many overnight hours. I hope you get to play some golf now. To Jake, our assistant superintendent, for taking every phone call and overseeing all the things, especially the keys that I'm sure I'll continue to call about. Aubrey is fortunate to have you continue to the next project. To Luke at Huckabee, your eye for detail is impeccable and your tenacious approach is appreciated. To my husband Mark and our boys, who without your muscle, time, support, and many, many patience with me, this building would not have been ready to welcome our staff and students up to my expectations. To my Fuller staff, thank you for being you and exactly who was meant to be here. Your grace through all of my I don't knows kept me inspired to keep going. What we have built here together is strong and no pandemic can stop our success. To the families in our community we serve, thank you for the bonds we are establishing and for trusting us with your children, especially during these times. Now I want to acknowledge my gratitude to the Aubrey ISD School Board and Dr. Belding for bestowing on me the privilege and trust to open and lead this campus. I am committed to nurturing our staff, students, and families to excellence. I'm proud to say that the entire Fuller faculty has already catalyzed our collective energy to bring our vision and mission into reality in just a short amount of time. We are leading with innovation, developing character, and fostering a passion for learning in our students as we carry out the legacy and commitment to education that our namesake, Ms. Jackie Fuller, is known for in the community. In conclusion, to Ms. Fuller and her family, you have my personal vow that we will always be dedicated to honoring the spirit of your family and to enriching the lives of our students in reading, writing, math, science, and history. We just hope to inspire a few Jackie of all trades in the future.
Now you can see why we wanted this April to be the principal. Great. Well, now it's time to hear from Ms. Fuller herself. And let me read a quick some biographical information about Ms. Fuller real fast. And so, as you know, Jackie Fuller Elementary is named after Mrs. Jackie Fuller, who served Aubrey students for 21 years as an elementary, middle school, and high school teacher. Ms. Fuller's life's work was the education of children, and she has made and continues to make a huge difference in the lives of students. Ms. Fuller taught for 30 years, spending 21 years at Aubrey ISD from 1974 to 1995. She started her teaching career at Keller ISD after attending Texas Women's University in Denton. Ms. Fuller grew up in Aubrey and Denton and attended Aubrey and Denton ISD schools. She graduated from TWU at age 18 in 1953 and worked for a year at the Timber Sewing Machine Company before her career in education began as a substitute teacher at Denton ISD. At Aubrey ISD, Mrs. Fuller's first teaching appointment was middle school U.S. history. With the help of her classes, Ms. Fuller helped open the first City of Aubrey Museum in 1976. Mrs. Fuller taught a variety of subjects over her career at Aubrey, but spent numerous years teaching government and U.S. history. After she retired, she continued to serve the community, Aubrey schools, and students in a variety of ways. Mrs. Fuller is a member of the Aubrey Historical Society and worked with other members and volunteers to open the Aubrey Area Museum in 2016. She also volunteers at the Aubrey Education Foundation's Literacy Program, reading to children several times a year at the Early Bird Learning Center. The Jackie Fuller Elementary School sign was unveiled at the groundbreaking ceremony for the school in February 2019. And we asked Ms. Fuller to help us take the cover off the sign, and she didn't know that the building would be named after her. It's a very special moment personally, and her reaction was priceless. So, and we're excited that the building opened in August of 2020. So without any further delay, we'll ask Ms. Jackie Fuller to come forward and bring us some comments.
Okay, well, stole my notes. I forgot that I gave him all this information. So I'll revise a little. But nevertheless, I'm breaking one of my cardinal rules, or I would have known this, because I stayed out of trouble while I was teaching by always asking the principal before I did a thing, like take the seniors to the jail. No, not to leave them. Anyway, I always asked permission, and I did not show him what I was going to talk about, so anyway, but we'll get there. I just want to say thank you to all my family members, first of all, for showing up. I don't know if they were afraid not to or not. Anyway, but I'm so thankful. I have children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, cousins, nieces, nephews, great-nieces, great-nephews, all here today, so I'm very thankful. No, that's not all of them. That's a good number. You know, it's not today what we had thought it would be back in 1919 when this was revealed. And folks, I did not know a thing about that name selection. It had never entered my mind. And I was extremely, extremely surprised. And what a great, great way it has turned out. I mean, Aubrey has beautiful school buildings, but this one is the icing on the cake, I think. One of the things I think that the pandemic has taught us, and something that most of us know with any age at all, and that is that in this life that we live, we must be flexible. And that's one of the first things teachers learn, because maybe they planned a test and instead they called for an assembly or something else. And so we have to be flexible, and we have certainly learned to be flexible during this period of time. Now, he answered some of the things that I was going to tell you, because some of you here do not know me, and you may be saying, who is this lady that this school is named for? Well, you might even be using the word old lady, and that's okay. I had another blessing this week. I turned 86. That's good. Now, I have to reassure Dr. Belding of one thing, because we talked about the length of this talk. I am not going to give them the whole load of hay, just a few bagels, and these are the small bagels. Okay. Okay. Well, you know, they say that with age comes wisdom, but also with age comes senility. So no judging, please. Okay. All right. I moved to West Blackjack Road when I was 3 years old. And back in that day, it was Depression time. And when I think about how we were living at that time, it's even more amazing to me that my name is on this building. We were living in a 2-room house near the creek with none of the facilities that people have today. I don't think that I really thought that much about it, you know, and that's where we were living when I started school in Aubrey. And I went to school in Aubrey from grades 1 through 7. And then we moved to Denton. And I went to the North Texas Lab School for the 8th grade. They did things a little differently. I got to skip the 9th grade along with some other students as well. I was not the only one. So then I went to Denton High School and I graduated there. But I graduated at midterm because I had a wonderful counselor, Maxie Dibble, who saw to it that I was able to get out of school early because she was scared to death that my boyfriend, my future husband and I were going to get married before I could get out of school. And she was determined that I go to college. So she helped me graduate, get out of school at midterm. She drove me to the college and got me a scholarship and got me enrolled. And then she wanted me to go to graduation with my class in May, and so I did that as well. So that I had that semester of college behind me. And then as Dr. Belding said, I did graduate. I've been in a hurry all my life, folks. So, I mean, you can tell that. And so I went every semester, all summer, and then the fall and winter semesters. And that is why I got out of school so early. But I graduated about 2 months before my 19th birthday in 1953 in the summer. And so the good Lord knew that I was not ready to take on full-time teaching at that time. And so I did other things. I signed up to, well, no, it wasn't at that time that I signed up. I worked, as he said, for the Singer Sewing Machine Company. And then I had a couple of children, and that kept me busy. And then I signed up to substitute again. And so I was on that list, and that's how I came to go to Keller, because they had a teacher decide not to teach 2 weeks after school started, and they sent someone who didn't to go down the substitute list. And so as a result, several of us went down and applied. I was hired, and I started my life's career. And I want to tell you that I have at least one student here today who was in that first 5th grade class. And that is Donald Parrott, and I would like you to stand, Donald. Larry, okay. I appreciate you all coming. I cannot tell you how very much I appreciate it. These are little 10-year-old boys. And it was my first year. I hope I did okay. I'm not sure. But anyway, it was the beginning, and I'm very proud of them. And I go to their reunions when I'm invited, and so I have had some interaction with them with all of the ones that I taught down there. I stayed down there 9 years, and the reason I left is sitting right over here. She was number 3. Anyway, anyway, let me see where I am right now. Okay, so we moved back to Aubrey in 1973, just before 1974, it was around Christmas time. In the summer of 1974, I went to the Aubrey School, and I was going to substitute again. I was going to sign up to substitute. Well, I ended up being hired to teach full time, and that began my 21-year history of teaching in Aubrey. Now, that answers the question pretty much of who I am. I have, as Dr. Belding said, I've taught a wide range of things, but I've spent most of my teaching career teaching government, history, and economics, and I love history. And I have to give my stepdad, Reuben Cagle, credit for really getting me interested in history, because back in the day, many Native Americans lived in this area, and we lived along the creek, and they lived near where there was water. And there were many, many artifacts on that place. And Sean, my nephew here, can tell you, they're still finding artifacts out there. And so if you see me going around looking down the ground, looking things wrong, we've developed that habit over the years. And so anyway, so as a small child, I would follow Daddy around, and we would pick up rocks and arrowheads and things, and he would even dig for pieces of stuff. And I miss introduction to the family. I have two brothers here. My dear brother Ruben over there, and my dear brother Danny over here. One more, my precious sister, four brothers, two in Texas and two in California. So, anyway, so that just adds, he didn't know that. Anyway, now, that is the question of who I am. I don't tell everything, obviously, I don't want them to know. Anyway, now, the question of why my name is on this school. Well, I have to thank this dear school board for that. And by the way, the president of the school board is a former student of mine. And we had some great discussions. Okay. And I just love it when you can look at the students that you had in class and know that they have done so well. And we have people who have become doctors and all kinds of things. And it's just wonderful. We have a wonderful school system here, in case you didn't know. Anyway, and I tell you, the teachers are really smart nowadays because I've been doing virtual school with my granddaughter, and I can't do fifth grade math anymore. Anyway, and if you've been doing virtual school, you know how hard it is. So, but the reason my name is up there is because, of course, they chose it. But I like to think that God put that in their minds. And I also like to, I do think that He put people in my life that kept me on the path that I took. And so I give most of the credit to the inspiring teachers that I had. And some of them were at Aubrey. One of them was Mrs. Greenhouse, who taught me not only to read, but to love it. She was my first grade teacher. Another one was Miss Cleo Huggins, and she taught fifth and sixth grade. And that day, they had 2 grades in their room. Can you imagine how hard that was? And she later went on to teach in Denton, and when I was substituting, I got to substitute for her, and it thrilled us both. So she was a real inspiration to me. The other one, and some of you might be here who remember her, and that's Miss Ruby Lockhart. She was my 7th grade teacher. Didn't get to spend 8th grade with her because we moved to Denton. But at Denton High School, the main one was Maxie Dibble, who really, really took me under her wing and saw to it that I got in college. And she was a dear friend for the rest of her life. Passed away some years later. I also had these other teachers, and I'm going to name them because I think they deserve to be named. And it's not, I know none of them are living, but please thank your teachers. Teach your children to thank their teachers for all that they do. So I had one called Joanna Wells Jr. and she was the health education teacher. I had Sally Roberts and the principal, A.O. Calhoun, for which his name is on this building there on Congress Street. That was my high school where his name is. He was a wonderful man and he helped me a lot. Anyway, I thank them so much because they truly inspired me to become a teacher. And I think it's important for us to remember how important our teachers are today and that they can actually impact children's lives so very much. And so I'm going to sort of read this because I don't want to leave out anything. I'm very thankful for this journey that God has allowed me to take. And it has been such a joy to teach in the school system where I began as a first grader. To have my name on this wonderful, fantastic laboratory of learning is so humbling. My prayer and hope is that students here will come to know that learning is a great adventure. And it is a great adventure that does not stop. It goes on. It doesn't stop for summer vacation. It doesn't stop when you've received the highest degree from the best university in the country. It continues throughout your life. And just as we learned that we have to be flexible, and we learned that early on, and we certainly have because of the pandemic. Just as we learned that, we learn all the time, even when some of the things that happen to us are not the best in the world. We still learn from those. And we can either do the right thing or the wrong thing. The thing is, if we learn that, if the children learn that learning goes on forever, it enriches their lives. And if their lives are enriched, they enrich the lives of others. And that helps to make our world a much better place. Now, it would be at this place probably that I would stop talking so that eventually we can cut this. But I've got to do one more little thing. So hang on. I'm introducing to you something that I hope that will be that you will see at the school. An idea that I got because Denton Museum takes their museum into the schools. And I thought, well, if they can do that, we can do that. So anyway, so I was looking in the ads one day in the paper, the grocery ads, and Aldi had a folding wagon, and I didn't know such a thing existed. It apparently has for a long time, but I didn't know it. And so this is a folding wagon. I had to have something that a person my age might be able to handle. And anyway, so I got it, and then fortunately, I go down to Twice as Nice a lot. I don't know if you all know what that is. It's a thrift store. I bought this little piece of material all rolled up down there one day for about 50 cents. So I thought, oh, that's the stuff I need. So I made this cover. So what we're going to do with this, if we're invited in for our small groups, we'll come in and give the students a little introduction to Aubrey's history. I want to introduce all of you to the museum as well, so I want you to come and visit. We have very large pictures down there. This is Main Street, Aubrey. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a black cat right in the middle of the road there. We don't know why. But anyway, and I'll show you another just a minute. And we will have, actually, I've asked for about 20 of these, but not from where this one came from. Okay, this is a bunch of students, I'll explain that in a minute. This is a bunch of students waiting to get on the bus. This is a handmade bus, folks. Homemade bus. That's what Aubrey had in the beginning when they first had a school bus. We don't know all those people, but I think I know somebody. This is a blacksmith shop. Okay? We have a lot of interesting things like that. Now, why do you need to know about Aubrey's history? Because you live here. Many of you, I hope you have people here are living in this beautiful community out here. Because, and, not only will we have pictures, we will have artifacts. I'll show you just one. Your kids have never seen cotton. Maybe some of you haven't. That figures into the economy, the early economy. So children need to know that where these developments were farms. One more thing. Peanuts. Used to be peanuts and fossilized rocks. Junk was covered with water at one time. Okay. Now, I have a lot of other things in it. That's just to introduce it to you so that you will know that it is available. But what I was about to say is, if you know the history of the area where you live, it connects you to that area. You feel more a part of that community, I believe. Just my opinion. Okay? Anyway, I was to give a history book today. I think I've got it in here. See if that's what it is today. Right in that plastic bag, yes. I put it in there. Okay. Before we did the museum, thank you, we did a history book. So the people in the Aubrey Historical Society got together and wrote various parts of it. And I wrote the part about the Hagel family and about education in our area. And so, anyway, we had sold 2 printings of that. We don't have any more books, but I did want to present this one to this school, Miss Abrams. You have $5,000 hanging around that you don't know what to do. We could use that and we could get a 3rd printing. Okay. All right, and that really is all that I have to say today. This is just so overwhelming to me. Sometimes, I don't know if you remember the old Dallas program. Remember that one? You know, where the guy had the months and months of dreaming. We didn't know it was a dream until he woke up from it. And I'm thinking, it didn't happen. Anyway, thank you. Thank you. It was wonderful. And notice the part about the being tied back to the Aubrey area, Aubrey. And if some of you people here have never been to Aubrey, please come. And the museum's closed right now, but it will open back up maybe December, if not January. And we'd love to tell you the stories, and I think you will enjoy them. For instance, I'm going to leave you a little tickler here. Did you know that Frank Sinatra has an indirect, that's the key word, indirect connection to Aubrey? Now, if you know that story, don't tell it.
Well, I don't know how you follow that, so. And now you know why this school is named after me. Even, even at an event like this, you still teach. So I learned quite a bit today. Already. So, and if you haven't been to the museum, you really need to go down there. I bet she would give Ms. Fuller, and, you know, you have, as we alluded to earlier, you've made an impact on thousands of people, and you continue to do that. And it was absolutely our honor to have your name on this building and from now on. And so we're super excited to watch the kids. Maybe we'll have a scheduled school board meeting. All right, well, I've got a couple more thank yous, and then we'll cut the ribbon, and then we'll have the tours. But first off, there is no way for a bond program to be successful or to build a new school without the support of our community. And so I want to say thank you again to all the voters that supported that, and members of our original facility planning committee that are in attendance today that met 2017. Could you stand up? I know Ms. Emma Lois, and I know there are several people that are here. Let's give them a big round of applause. When you go to a building program, you really need great cooperation from the city because we don't do this in a silo. We don't do this on a level by ourselves. And the cities, the 4 municipalities that are within the boundaries of our school district, the city of Aubrey, Krugerville, Crossroads, and Providence Village, as well as Denton County, have been very instrumental in helping us get here today. So we've got a few city officials that are here. I want to introduce them at this time. So I want to introduce the mayor of Krugerville, Mr. Jeff Parent, and former school board member. The administrator for Providence Village, Mr. Brian Robinson. The mayor of the city of Aubrey, Mayor Janet Myers. City council member of Aubrey, Deborah Goldman. Town council for Providence Village, Jordan Blitter. And Victoria Mitchell from Providence Village. Oh, and I've been whispered, I really wish I had one for your monitor, but whispered that City of Aubrey, City Council member Chuck Fox is here as well. I didn't see Chuck earlier. All right, and I also want to thank the staff, the original staff at Fuller Elementary. Several of them are right back here because, as Ms. Abrams talked about, you know, she is such a dynamic person and dynamic leader. We're blessed to have her. But the folks that are in the back, whether you're the counselor, a teacher, a school secretary, receptionist, a cafeteria, custodian, you make it all work. And you make the difference for the kids in what you do. So let's have them stand up and let's give them a round of applause. And we have a former board member, Ron Bullock, who was on the board when the bond was passed. He sent his grief. Something came up that he could not make it today. And the last acknowledgement before we cut the ribbon is a little bit personal, and it's my wife Angela, who's right over here. The wife of a superintendent, you lose your husband a little bit because where are you? Well, I'm watching them put dressings in Fuller, and I'm in mud up to my ankles. Or hey, Sunday afternoon, what do you want to do? Let's go walk around the new elementary school and check the paint. Hey, what do you think about this coffee? Does it match the grout and the brick? Right, which one would you choose? And all these things. And she got to experience all that, and I appreciate your support, and thanks for putting up with me and all of the little conversations we had about, you know, I wonder when if the laminate, the wood laminate is going to be right. So thank you. Now, we are going to take some pictures while we do it, and so we're going to get one of Ms. Fuller just kind of by herself with the ribbon, and then we'll join her with the ribbon and get squared. Are you ready? Hey. Absolutely.
and Michael. My granddaughter is a reporter for KRLD Dallas Radio, that news station. Bailey Friday.
All right, well, let's get this written. What do you say? All right. Well, we're not cutting you around a picture. Then we're giving some soup. Okay, we're gonna look and smile behind our mask. Good. All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. Cut. What we're gonna ask you to do is make sure that you do this action. If I get your attention, please. Great. See, all our teacher friends do. So, what we ask is, we're gonna go counterclockwise through the building, and if you divide yourselves up, the pre-K kindergarten wing is right back here, so some of you can start there, and then others can start first and second